the friends that they had on the show this episode held them super accountable, one, but also really knew them, like could really call out their characteristics, their personality traits, and say, okay, this is where you going wrong. You Vince, you're Vincent, and you know, Haley, you're Haley. Like, I love that about the friends. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, being Simone Iman. I am Simone Iman, and if this is your first time here, then hello, welcome. I do a little bit of everything on my channel. This is my personal diary, so sometimes I do television show reviews or movie reviews. Sometimes it's product hauls and suggestions, and yeah, that's what I got. So if you're interested in things like that, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you know anytime I upload a new video. Today we are going to talk about Married at First Sight, season 12, episode 8, I believe, called Face to Face. It's fresh off my mind from my DVR. Let's get into it. You know, it is not a Married at First Sight review if we do not begin with Chris and Paige. Paige kind of revived herself a little bit this week because I was super disappointed in Homegirl last week. Anyway, all the couples are meeting with their friends individually, and then their friends are coming over for like fiesta, taco night, housewarming, whatever. Get on this camera and let me see how y'all interact together so we know if this is gonna be something that'll work in the long haul. Paige and Chris never had friends come over. Of course not, because Paige is literally being robbed of the experience, as she says every episode. And I be feeling her when she say that, because there are no truer words. But she's allowing herself to be robbed, because I wouldn't be on now another camera unless there's some kind of financial tie. That's what I keep hearing in the streets. Like, she won't get paid if she don't show up or whatever. So get your coin, sis. But still, Chris goes to meet with a pastor and his friend Mikhail, and to be honest, they all look toxic until they start talking. Pastor was pastoring, and I was he was giving a little Pastor Cow tease, and I was feeling a lot of what he was saying. Immediately when Chris says he has something to tell them, they're like, oh, they're having twins. Why is everybody trying to force a baby on them? And no, they're not having twins. He's probably gonna have twins, but she's not. And therein lies the problem. He tells them that he's asked for a divorce, and they both seem very surprised. He also tells them that he was never attracted to her from day one. And then he starts talking about how things progress, and he tells them that they had sex. Now, this is the person that don't want to talk about sex with his daddy or his mama. His mama I get. His daddy, you can talk about sex with your daddy. And Pastor Cal, he like refused to talk about it with Pastor Cal, and I'm just like, it's his pastor, so maybe he feels a little more comfortable. He also tells them that his ex is pregnant, and they just got stuck faced when they hear that, like the rest of us did. The minister starts to ministering, and he gives a lot of sound pastoral advice, and he hits him with the Jenny, with Virginia. If this is your child, like, he was offended when Virginia said that. If this is it yours? Pastor said the same thing. If this is your child, when you're not married to somebody, you absolutely have every right to question the paternity of a child. I mean, it just is what it is. Marriage, not saying children can't be conceived outside of a marriage, but at the end of the day, if it's just like a boyfriend or girlfriend, or in his case an ex, like, that's a valid question. He says he wants to be with the baby's mama because he doesn't want someone else fathering or raising his child. And the pastor says, well, we all have been saying, like, you don't have to be with the mother in order to be a good father. And I think that's so plain. Like, that, does that even need to be explained to someone his age and with that kind of experience? Like, obviously. But at the end of the day, honestly, it's the fact that he doesn't want her to be with anyone else. That's how I feel. It's not about, it's the baby is a, you know, embryo at this point. Like, you're gonna make life decisions based on a future child, a child that is in, you know, a fetus that is maturing and growing. I get it, but he just has so many emotional ties to the situation that, to me, honestly, have nothing to do with the child. It doesn't. It has a lot to do with ego. It has a lot to do with control. It has a lot to do with the past relationship with the girl who we find out her name is Mercedes. And that's what it's about. But it's clothed in this honorable jacket of, well, I want to be a good father and I want to be there for my child. Like, bruh, keep the toxicity to yourself. The pastor tells him that he's being immature, that it's a premature decision, and that it's an embarrassment. He needs to think about not only Paige, but her family, his family, and you ugly and you breath stink. Like, he was just like laying it out on him, and with every right, because what Chris is doing is, I hate to keep using the C word, but it seems like he's doing it for clout, like for a never before seen storyline. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem genuine at the end of the day. Even with Mercedes coming on the show, that don't seem genuine. Because if I was her, I wouldn't want to have nothing to do with that. I wouldn't want to be on TV talking about that at all. His friend Mikhail says, you know, you're married, you should keep her. Pastor thinks more of Paige than Paige thinks of herself. Pastor says that Paige is a diamond because she is. And honestly, between Mikhail and Pastor, what they're telling him is, you married up, bruh. Like, she's an accountant, she's good stock, she's good looking, she's intelligent. Like, homegirl look like an Instagram model and a struggling one, okay? You know, she might be a whole engineer accountant out here, but that's just not the vibe that I'm getting from her. So they start like laying it out on him, and at some point you can always see when Chris checks out. He gets a plan on his phone. Now this is a room of grown men, him, the pastor, and his friend Mikhail. Mikhail and the pastor look like grown men, not children. He gets a plan on his phone. And pretty much the conversation is over, he says. He is a whole child. When things are getting hot and heated and it's pointed in his direction, he can't take. And he shuts everything down. We move on to the next scene. Chris calls Paige and says that, Paige, he said, what you doing? She said, I'm busy. Paige was doing nothing but scrolling on Instagram, okay? She was not busy. He tells her he wants to have a brief conversation with her and his fiance to clear the air. For what? He already said he wants a divorce. I didn't ever hear her say she wasn't gonna give it to him. So what is there to clear the air about? I think that in Paige's interviews too, Paige talk a good game. Paige be, I'm walking away from this. This is no longer serving me. Using all her good Iyanla terms. And when she get in front of him, that shit goes out the window. Cause I guarantee after he told her he wanted a divorce, she slept with him again. Uh-oh, earring. The vibe that I'm getting, like once they show the, you know, foreshadow of her sitting with Mercedes and him, it's giving Jerry Springer. And I'm disappointed in the Mavs producers because it's just gutter. It's just low. Anyway, she says she needs time to think about it and she wants to protect her peace and her spirit, but in the end we know she still does it. I hope they roll her a fact check. I hope that was an extra scene. Paige brings her to sit down with Chris and his ex-fiance. Oh, my notes say Paige brings her fool ass, because she did. She goes to sit down with Chris and his fiance, and she says that sitting with him is her taking her power back. Okay, I'm gonna follow you. I don't know where we're going with this one, but I'm gonna follow you. And then Chris and Mercedes come in dressed like they going on a night on a town. Like even Paige said, oh, y'all look fancy, y'all look jazzy. Like they came dressed to film a scene. Granted, if I'm going on television, of course I'm gonna have my makeup done, my hair is gonna be laid, but sis had on like a freakum dress. Sis had 6-minute abs, first of all, and I know she's only 7 weeks pregnant, but it just wasn't giving ex-fiance who's about to have a baby by a man she don't want. It was giving where's my light and where's my camera opportunity. I'm just saying. Obviously, that's what it was given to. It wasn't even like a question. Like, they was there to film a scene. Paige opens up with the compliments. Like, I was like, Paige, is it crack? Is it crack, Paige? Why are you so friendly with these people who are hurting you? It has to be crack. Paige says that she isn't sure about the pregnancy because she's seen no proof. Same here, sis. She's seen no proof, but at the end of the day, do you have to see a fart to know that the shit stinks? Like, even them coming, whatever, even if she made it up, Chris giving it the life and the energy that he gave is not serving you. So walk away from this. Mercedes says she's about 7 weeks pregnant and that she has no ill feelings toward Paige. How could you? You don't know her. And then they just start having like girl chat. Mercedes says that she didn't know he was married until she told him she was pregnant, and that she's confused, and she's still confused. I guess she's confused as to why he would sign up for something like that if he was still screwing her. That's confusion. I'm confusion too. Chris then, you know, in his he talks like he's not talking when he's in the hot seat. Anyway, he says he brought them together to clear the air because, you know, this is his wife and the potential and the mother of his child, soon to be ex. Like, bruh, I'm not your wife. I don't understand the point if they're divorcing. Like, I really don't. But beside opportunity in this, I just don't see the point. And then here go Paige. This is what Paige lost me. Paige is talking, and Paige eventually says, you know, there was a moment where I thought I could be pregnant too. And would he be leaving me and our potential child to be with you and yours? What? Mercedes kind of laughed. That was the beginning of her like nervous laughter, which at first I was triggered by her laughter, like what's funny, but I feel like it was nervous laughter after I kept watching. Mercedes had to laugh. Pregnant by who? Girl, me too. I was the same. Pregnant by who? By Chris? Now, she kind of, when she talked to Pastor Cal last week, she said that she had been having unprotected sex with him, obviously. And that's what I was feeling like when Mercedes, I feel like it was a read, like pregnant by who? Like, anytime you have sex with anybody, if you use contraception or not, nothing's foolproof. You can get pregnant. But to me, it was seeming like Paige wanted to see them squirm a little bit, honestly. That's what I got from it. Paige knew she wasn't Bimo, nowhere near close to pregnant. I don't know. Maybe she thought she was. But I just felt like that was a tool. Like, that was a, let me see y'all, a little bit. Because I had never seen her mention that to Chris on camera. When she talked to Pastor Cal about it, it didn't seem like a pregnancy scare. More like I had sex with him and I just had to wait for my cycle to come to make sure I wasn't pregnant. But it didn't give what it had supposed to give. And she hit the nail on the head when she told that to Mercedes and Chris, because they both was looking stuck and stupid, which she deserves, because she been looking stuck and stupid for 8 episodes. It was giving trap baby. Paige says her intentions were always pure, and he is insistent that his were too. How? When you were screwing your ex during the process. He keeps saying, you know, that Paige is not, like, she's not giving him credit for being honest. Granted, you're being honest, but look what you're being honest about. Like, it's not like you're being honest about doing the noble thing. You're being honest about some snake shit. You want too much credit for something that's not really something you should want to be accredited for at all. Mercedes still laughing. Mercedes is still laughing, and Chris basically is like, well, he's over it. He begins to check out. He begins to scroll on his phone. He's upset because Paige is talking about him to Mercedes but not to him. You're not making any eye contact. You're contributing nothing to the conversation. You said you wanted me and her to talk. So why he was upset that she was talking to her about him and not him specifically, it was just childish, and it was a hissy fit, and I could see the hissy fit brewing on his face, and I knew that he was gonna do that shit again. He starts saying that he's irritated, and Mercedes is like, basically been there, done that. That's why she don't like you and she don't want you, because you childish, and that's how you react when things get tough. He starts firing. He says that Paige is firing shots. And this is when I was like, okay, maybe Mercedes ain't so bad. Mercedes is like, she's being very, very respectful given the circumstances. What else are you expecting? She's not being rude. She's not, you know, what is your deal? Because her energy is not matching yours. Okay, Mercedes with a little sense. He gets low, child. He can't wait to go home and eat food and watch the games. And then he says, read his Bible. Y'all, how toxic is that? To be mistreating someone, disrespecting someone, being so ugly to someone, and then reference going to read your Bible. Child, like, who raised him? I love the fact that Mercedes held him to the fire. And it seems like if you aren't stroking his ego, he has a whole fit. And I don't understand it. Like, for the life of me, I don't understand how a man who's supposedly been in the pulpit and a pastor, a business owner, who's been engaged before, like, he has so much life experience to be so immature. It just doesn't make much sense to me. I don't like it. Paige at the end of the day says, you know, basically when, okay, I missed that part. When Mercedes says that she had no intentions on being with him, baby, no baby, Paige felt super vindicated. So you saying you leaving me and you divorcing me for somebody who don't even want you. Paige was literally laughing in her interview. Also, when she was laughing, Paige got some teeth on her. Them some good teeth, girl, and they was white. She had to do a whitening session before she went on this show. Them teeth was amazing. But yeah, the girl don't even want you, baby or no baby. Like, Chris, get over yourself. And I think that's another reason why he's like keeping this whole circus thing going, to get the attention from both of them. Because at the end of the day, you have to think about it. Why would Paige even want you with all this baggage? Even though she says she's willing to be a bonus mom and all of that, on paper it doesn't look good. Why would that woman want you? And then the woman that you really want don't want you either. So I'm gonna create this circus and I'm going to keep these girls in the loop with this BS as long as I can, just to have some affection from them or some attention from them. That's what it's giving, and it's giving lame. Chris, you're lame. Next couple, please. Who do I have next? I have, come on notes. Look, the notes for Paige and Chris be so long. Haley and Jacob. So Haley goes to meet her friend, and her friend is excited, but Haley ain't. I love her friend. Her friend is so cute. I don't remember who she looks like. I can't call out the actress, but it's a cute one. She says that Haley tells her friend that once she's processed everything, she kind of felt like she's in over her head. And her friend is a good friend. Friend gave good advice, okay? And friend held her accountable. I love the fact that most of the people, most of the brides and grooms, husbands and wives, the friends that they had on the show this episode held them super accountable, one, but also really knew them. Like, could really call out their characteristics, their personality traits, and say, okay, this is where you going wrong. You and Vince, you Vincent, and you know, Haley, you're Haley. Like, I love that about the friend scenes. I honestly think Haley is just not attracted to him, but he's attractive. It's just the whole 80s thing and the lack of personality that makes him not as attractive as he could be. Because he's in the gym, he looks good, he has a nice frame, he's not ugly, he's just older, more mature, and doesn't have a lot of oomph to himself. Like, the most exciting thing about him is the 80s, and she's annoyed by that. He gives weird older guy vibes, you know. She probably wouldn't even let him buy her a drink at the bar, and if she did, she would like go to the bathroom and go to the next bar afterwards and avoid him. Like, that's the vibe that I get from her. Her friend was talking like she was married, like she gave really good married people advice, and then they talk about, you know, what she's going to do moving forward, giving it time, working on it. And her friend says she thinks she's really invested. We get to their housewarming fiesta, and his friends are different than her friends, but they all make a good group. I think they had good conversation. There was a lot of chatter and laughing. his friend looked older than him. So he kind of looked out of place. But I love the scene where Jacob goes to talk to her friends in the kitchen, and they validate his feelings, but they also raise some red flags. So not friend that was at the brunch with her with the champagne. The other friend was kind of like, she's a commitment phobe, and this is, you know, probably gonna be hard for her. And it's like, girl, you sharing too much. But she was honest with him, and I think he's picked up on all of that already, you know. So it's not something that he already didn't think, but it was just solidified by people who actually know her. I wrote in my notes that Jacob is the kind of white guy that I would be friends with. You know how you have a work friend? He's my work friend. I'm always really good work friends with the really quiet white guy that nobody talks to, and he cuts up with me. I have one work friend I had for a long time. His name is Josh. Josh still texts me randomly all the time. Super weird, super quiet. Nobody liked him, not because he did anything, but he just wasn't, he had no personality. Nobody was talking to him. He and I cut up, okay? He buying me Christmas presents, birthday presents. Same in one of my other jobs. Chris, another white guy, in my cubicle every 30 minutes talking about something. I could always depend on him, count on him. Jacob is my kind of white guy friend at work, so I get him. And while he's dull and has no personality, it can be brought out of him, and that's what I want Haley to do. When they were sitting in that kitchen, did y'all see all those supplements and like protein powder on the counter? That shake is thick with all that shit in it. I think that his friends are really nice and insightful, and they gave really good feedback, and I think that a lot of the things that they were saying about Jacob, she had already experienced, so it just validated her feelings too. And then in the later scene, Haley gets dressed to go to Clara's housewarming, and I didn't get it when I was watching, but Clara's friends got sick. It sounded like code word for COVID, and they couldn't come, and so Brianna and Haley went to their housewarming for her. And then Haley said that she wants to have a drink before she goes, and he's like, no, I'm good. She's like, oh, you gonna make me drink by myself? Look, people like that are on fitness like he is, they don't drink like that. That's a huge adjustment for him. And it's just like, another drink, like them empty calories. He ain't want nothing to do with them empty calories and carbs. He starts talking about what he's been doing, flipping houses, natural bodybuilding. They look at his watch. He wears his watch on the inside, so he's rude when he checks the time and he's talking to people. They talk about boats and Spartan races. That was hilarious. He asked her if she did Spartan races, and she was like, do I look like? What would ever give you that idea? Before we go on to the next couple, I'm going to revisit the scenes with all the couples going to sit down and meet with each other. The girls all go to brunch, and they look so cute, brunch and beautiful, but it's only Brianna, Clara, and Haley. Paige, I don't know what, look, Paige is robbed of the experience. And Virginia was in a wedding, so she wasn't there. But they, you know, sit down and talk about their experience and how they're all getting along with their husbands, and they share some good things, like some, you know, they give details about a lot of stuff. Claire asked the women to come over because she doesn't have anybody to come for her. Friends are sick. And then Ryan asks the guys how marriage is going, and Vinny says that he's appreciating the home cooked meals, because Vinny is a foodie, y'all. When he goes sit down and talk to his friend, he got so excited when that food came to the table. Jacob asks if Brianna drinks much, and he's like, no. And then Jacob's like, well, our girls are drinkers and we're just trying to keep up. I feel bad for Eric and Jacob, because they're really having to come out of their shells in ways that I don't think I would. Like, I'm not gonna drink with you every time you're drinking just because you're drinking. Like, yeah, you're gonna be drinking by yourself. And then Claire says that she and Ryan had their first tiff. They went to a friend's birthday party, and they were offering Jello shots. Their assessment of Jello shots was dead on. People offer you Jello shots, and you're like, oh no. And they offer again, and they offer again, and eventually you take the Jello shot. Well, Ryan was a hard no, and it caused like a little bit of confusion, like he had to dig his heels in and say, I'm not taking a jello shot. And she says that she just didn't feel like he was, you know, opening up, and he wasn't, you know, cool in front of her friends, I guess. And he says he's not comfortable around people that he doesn't know, which is understandable. Most of us aren't, like, unless you're Virginia. You're not just throwing back shots and having a great time with a bunch of people that you have no past experience with. Or maybe you are. I don't know. But Ryan is just super conservative, so it takes a lot for him to open up. She haven't even seen his bare chest yet. Okay, give it a second. Jacob asked if you know, how the living situation is going, and basically Vincent is like, he just misses his alone time after work. You got to get a hobby. One of y'all got to get a hobby, so at some point during the day y'all have separate time from one another. I think that's the best thing that you can do. Brianna shares that she likes Vinny, and Clara agrees, and Haley says she likes him, but she's working on it. Jacob says they're working on trust, blah, blah, blah. Ryan says he's more reserved, and Clara's super trusting. And he thinks that's, I think that's why they're matched. So she can bring something out of him. Because I'm at the point now where I'm with Clara. I don't think this is gonna work. He's too shut off in a process like this. Or maybe he's just not that into her. I don't know. She says she's, you know, thinking that he's waiting to be emotionally connected before they have sex, but she feels connected to him emotionally already. And I don't know, I just feel like he's not that into her. When a man wants you, he wants you. If a man want to have sex with you, he gonna have sex with you. I don't see that with Clara and Ryan. I mean, he probably does have a great value system, but at the end of the day, my God, y'all are married. Like, your values are in line. Like, you are committed to her. Have a little sex. Anyway, let's go to, oh, why don't we just finish up with Clara and Ryan? So we didn't see a lot of them one-on-one, and I'm starting to wonder why. Bree and Haley came. Haley brought a half a bottle of tequila, probably from her party left over. Claire says she doesn't think Ryan allows himself to open up, and she's hoping that he will with his friends. Ryan's friends seem to be way more fun than he is. And he looks like he's opened up a little bit more. The friends that came look like a married couple. They look like they together. I don't know. There's something missing there. She says that they're doing other things, but they're not having sex. What are other things? Oh, she's not going down on him. Like, unless he's reciprocating. But that's just selfish. If you, I'm one of those people, if you're not getting what you want, you shouldn't put yourself out on the line. And I hope that's not what Clara is doing. But that's what it's looking like. His friends basically say, you know, friends know you. His friends are like, he's calculated, he does things specifically for a reason, and he's a hard nut to crack. And she says she's never seen his chest, and they do other things. So what is other things? Like, I'm concerned. In the beginning I was like, oh, Clara and Ryan are gonna make it. I'm not feeling that way no more. I have genuine concern. Next is Eric and Virginia. So Virginia's going to a wedding. She's going to be gone for 4 days. Virginia, Eric runs into Ryan walking the dogs, and they talk about the challenges and getting into the groove. He says that he likes like cute little kisses and hugs and showing affection, and that Virginia really isn't into that. She seems annoyed. It's the creepy older guy thing. Honestly, I feel that for her and Haley. They just aren't that attracted to him, you know. He gives smothering dad, like too much. Eric meets with his friends, and he's really optimistic. Every time he describes the relationship, he's so optimistic, but then once he starts talking about it more, you see the red flags, like with her being a party girl and him wanting to settle down, and it just doesn't seem like they're equally yoked at the end of the day. He starts talking about what his expectations are and like her going out and if she should ask for permission. And his friend's eyes kind of get big. It's like, ask for permission? We all wondering what the hell Eric mean by ask for permission. He says that he wants her to miss him while she's gone. She ain't. And I want to know how many times she's texted him in the last 4 days, but we will find out when she gets home. And it's concerning. Friend says, you know, don't talk down to her. And he does. He sons her. I said that last week. He sons her a lot. Eric says that she can have her life before or her life with him, but she can't have both. She can't. Eric don't want the party girl at the end of the day. When she comes back, he's made pigs in a blanket for their party. Child, they giving redneck vibes. Okay. Virginia asks how he thinks the week was apart, and she's like, oh, it was fine. She's much more quiet about the conversation when she comes home than he is. He thinks it's great, but he says that, you know, I liked it. We, you know, you text every hour, every other hour. That is excessive. That's a red flag, and I don't think Virginia was comfortable with that at all. Her two best guy friends are coming over, and he says he's excited, but she doesn't think he's excited. She doesn't think that he'll like them simply because they're men at the end of the day. She says she's kind of stressed about it. She thinks that he's gonna have to be more relaxed and trusting, and then Lane and Cole come over. They hug Virginia, and his look was like he wasn't feeling it. And then his friends come over, and everybody seems nice. From the moment they walk in, she offers a beer, and then she wants to take tequila shots. And his friends are like, no. She tells this weird shot story and basically says that she's a closeted shot taker. Like, she takes shots by herself because her friends refuse to get shitty, pissy drunk with her. And it's like, sis, you gotta slow down. Eric says that he is concerned that this is not going to be a phase of life for Virginia. Like, this is Virginia's life, and that's not the life that he can live, obviously. His friend's interview was very optimistic. You know, the friends talking head piece about them being matched because of their differences, and then Virginia friends pull Eric. Why I can't talk. Virginia's friend pulls Eric to the side, and they go out and talk. And when they start talking, I'm thinking he's gonna say, you know, y'all don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about us. But basically, he was like, don't do too much. Like, don't try to be a father to her. Don't be, you know, controlling. And it's kind of feeling like she be talking about him to them already, that he might be a little controlling. And immediately Eric's body language, you know, the folded arms and everything, it goes to commercial, which is a cliffhanger. But when we come back, they had a good conversation. He says she's a badass woman. Like, okay, compliment my wife all day, but he needed to know that they don't have any interest in her. I'm curious to ask if he's asked I'm curious to know if he's ever asked Virginia if they've slept together, any of her male friends, and if she's friends with any of her male friends that she's ever slept with. Like, at the end of the day, that's what we need to know. You could be friendly and friends with all these other guys all day. Have you slept with any of them? Should I be concerned? Eric says that he's satisfied with the conversation, and I'm like, okay, I guess, if you say so. But it's not over. That situation isn't over. Even though he's met them and he likes them after 4 hours max, you know, I still feel like he's concerned that that's concerning, her having male friends. That's just the vibe he gives. Next, Brianna and Vincent. So I really like this with Brianna and Vincent. They're back in the house, and this is after Vincent got upset because she made fun of him. He says he only got so far as the parking deck, and he came back because he's responsible for his family, for her and for Cookie. I thought that was so sweet. Brianna is really trying her best to communicate well with him, and I still don't understand why he was so upset. But I do think that there's some trauma associated there where he doesn't like to be embarrassed. And he eventually, when he talks to his friend, he says that I was embarrassed and she made fun of me. And it's something about embarrassment that is like a trigger for him. I think that she might be a little bit strong-willed for him, and that's going to be something that they'll probably have to have couples therapy for a while about that, because she's like, she's a little aggressive with the way she talks, and she jokes with him, but not in a way that he can take it. And she has to really learn how she can joke with her husband, which is a task, but at the end of the day, shit, everything about marriage is a task, okay? It's gonna happen again. He just needs to be prepared. Vincent goes to meet with his friend. He says that he's happily married, and he gets so excited, y'all, when his food comes. He is such a fatty. And he starts talking about their disagreement. He says that he's delicate with how he communicates with his wife, but she isn't. And then he explains the situation with the champagne to his friend. And his friend was like, okay, now tell me the part where she was disrespectful. Cause that's not disrespectful. He's like, okay, now where's the disrespect? I'm waiting on it. What would make you leave? It's like, bro, you gotta stop being so tender. You can't be so tender. I really feel like his friend gave him sound advice. Like, these friends was friends, okay? He tells him that he needs to get out of his head, and that's what it is. He's too in his head. He's too self-conscious about everything. You know, she likes you. It's okay. She doesn't want to hurt your feelings. She's invested in the relationship. She's looking forward to having a family with you. Like, just go with the flow. Get out of your head about it, Vinny. He kind of looks embarrassed again. Like, he's realizing in the moment he went too hard. And I hope he went home and he apologized to her. They have their little housewarming, and I love that they invited their parents and their siblings. They're the only ones who invited their mothers and their siblings. And Vinny says that his mom couldn't come to the wedding, or his brother. My thought is that they probably live out of town, like far somewhere, maybe even the Dominican, and they couldn't come because his mama don't speak English fluently. I think that it says a lot about them that they thought to bring their mothers and their siblings. Her mom was like, how's it been? He's like, oh, it's good. He's like, no. She's like, no, tell me the truth. I know my child. She hard to get along with. They have a little bit of a language barrier, but his mom was like following the conversation. The game seemed really fun. They laughed. They all got along really well. His brother said that he could tell that his mom liked her because he knew that she would take care of Vinny, and it just looked beautiful. Their families coming together was just a beautiful thing. When the scene went off, I was just like, wow, those are going to be some beautiful babies, and they're going to be very loved, okay? They're going to be very loved. They love the food that Brianna cooks. And even, I noticed too in this scene, when she was like making little jokes about Vinny, he laughed at him. That's what you got to do. Laugh together, because she's only joking, Vinny. She doesn't want to hurt you. That is all I got for this week, y'all. Y'all realize Married at First Sight is 2 hours and 9 minutes long every week. This is a long show, but I try to do my reviews as quickly as possible without missing anything. Anyway, you guys, thank you for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.